Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video we will be talking about a destructive and potentially dangerous storm that is going on right now. Maybe I shouldn't say destructive, but dangerous, damaging potentially for sure across the central plains into Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Nebraska, portions of South Dakota, Missouri, Kansas. I mean, yeah, into Michigan, the UP of Michigan. It's just a multi-states you could see spanning, as I've named all those states, and into potentially southern Canada. There will be also a threat for this storm to go into tomorrow and Friday, with some of the severe weather being a bit less of a threat, but mainly flooding rain, which could be kind of the damaging portion, right? The dangerous is really more today with those heavy storms, the hail, which could obviously also be damaging. I'll give you a view of the storm and what's to come with it, and afterwards a lot of quiet weather is on its way, and actually very interesting pattern is going to be ongoing after this cold front passes through very slowly, and we could be looking at a interesting pattern, and I'll make a video about that tomorrow. But for today, if you guys enjoy this video, you will enjoy it, right? If you will, then check out the channel, watch other videos, see if this channel's for you. I'm a weather hobbyist. I like talking about the weather, and again, consider subscribing if that is your thing. If you are already a subscriber, hello and welcome. If you could like the video, that'd be awesome, new or old viewer. And if you leave a comment or concern, I pretty much answer all the comments. So feel free to leave whatever you want, and I'll probably answer it, as long as it's not too of a mean one. Okay, so let's start off by looking at the National Weather Service map, Weather Ready Nation. So notice that we do have quite a bit of tornado watches across Iowa, or sorry, quite a few counties under the tornado watch. Again, that's not a tornado warning, that's just saying that the potential for a tornado watch is there. But notice that we do already have quite a bit of tornado warnings. Actually, quite a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, and if you're to count all of them throughout, the afternoon, there's been many more, and they were further to the north across Mason City for Dodge, but they have expired. But expect this to continue, these tornado warnings, which obviously not all of them will produce a tornado. And even if they do, it doesn't have to be necessarily one that damages stuff. There's a lot of open space here, and they don't even have to be that strong. But again, notice that's quite a few, and obviously the severe thunderstorm warnings are there as well. That's for more of the basic severe weather, if you will. The hail, damaging wind potentially. But let's take a look at this. So this one isn't as much of a tornado threat as it is more of a wind threat and hail threat. Notice a quarter size or less, which, or sorry, 3/4 of a size or less, which again is sizable. But the wind, 60-mile-per-hour wind gust, definitely enough to throw around some furniture, bring down some branches, and notice a lot of rain with this going on as well. And this is again in that tornado watch area, so notice that's what they say right there. So there's your damaging portion. This is just a severe weather statement for, I think, another area. Yeah, this just lists all the warnings, and notice that I don't know if any of them have been. Yeah, you could see this was a funnel cloud spotted. I don't know if any of them have been confirmed on the ground. I'm assuming a bit. Yeah, right there has a history of producing a tornado, so that could be something that we would have to be careful for. But again, just too many watches and warnings for me to go over every bit. Notice I think we just saw a few pop up, right? That one right there wasn't there when I refreshed that. Yeah, so we'll continue to see that through the night. Again, even in areas that are outside of the watch. Right here, a big nasty storm across southern Wisconsin, severe thunderstorm warning. And if you're to take a look at this, I want to show you that, look at that, 60-mile-per-hour wind gust, the hail, and very heavy rain with this. The atmosphere is extremely saturated. So, especially after round and round of rain that will start to take its toll. And I'm not really looking at these watches to give you a forecast what's going to happen with each individual one. I'm just trying to show you the danger with this, as we just saw that expand into southern Wisconsin. You saw that, right? Yeah. Southern Wisconsin, Illinois, we just saw the watches get expanded to. Or northern Illinois. All right, yeah. A lot of changes, and I was reading the forecast discussion. They were saying that they're going to expand it likely there because of the clearing that has been going on, and the atmosphere is being destabilized. So by the time I'm uploading these videos, there'll probably be more, across Wisconsin and eastern Iowa rather than these here. But I'm just again showing you that this is the danger. Okay, let's take a look at the radar now, so you can see what's producing these nasty cells. Let's take it back all the way to 12 o'clock or. Yeah, right there, 12 noon. Notice the history of this event. We had a lot of heavy rain across Minnesota, Minneapolis, right there, Wisconsin, even into northern Illinois. Look at that squall line. Very powerful, very strong winds, and a lot of rain. It did weaken and pretty much essentially fall apart completely as it approached Chicago, so didn't really get any rain. A bit bummed out about that, unfortunately, but I know that there's going to be plenty more chances with the system, as you notice that a lot of backfill rain across Wisconsin, but look at these storms across Iowa. That doesn't look like a big tornado threat potentially, but in these little hooks and crevices, there sometimes could be tornadoes, especially if a cell is more on its own. And notice, I mean, they went from absolutely just being birthed, right, as supercells or thunderstorms within two hours. They're already forming line and they're tracking just north of Des Moines into Waterloo. Within a few hours, probably approaching the Dubuque area. And yeah, again, lots of clearing here. The atmosphere is destabilized. It will probably be potent or willing to be a strong supporter of these storms. So notice why this line, if that made no sense, let me explain here. Notice how this line, when it approached the eastern Illinois area, just fell apart, because that's atmosphere wasn't really favorable for them. That's usually what it is when you see thunderstorms falling apart. These, you know, you could say they would do the same thing. However, the atmosphere has been kind of eating away at the unfavorable side of it, and now these storms could stay strong, or you know, even if these die off, new ones will appear, and that's why they're saying that this line of storms, or at least the, you know, the heavy rain, which is those colors, will continue into Illinois, Wisconsin, Missouri, potentially again into Kansas City. Look at those right here across Texas and into Kansas. We start seeing this line almost connecting down into the southwest. And look at the southwest, by the way. I want to point this out. A lot of activity, lots of showers, storms, relatively slow moving. Flagstaff picking up more rain. They've been seeing quite a bit in the last few days. So that's good news. Good news for the southwest. Maybe not so much the northwest, where they arguably need it more at this point. All right, so that's our system. Now, you may be wondering, okay, so what's next? Where does the system go? And for that, let's take a look at the European model first. Notice, there's our system today at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so a bit delayed. Now this is more appropriate of what it's looking like. Notice developing that cold front, and look, as we push this forward, it really slows down. We have a low pressure that develops out of that thunderstorm cluster, and look, cold front drags to the south, but very slowly, and it does go through phases of weakening and strengthening. Notice right there, it weakens, stalls out, and we see some strengthening right there into now this is into Thursday, into Friday. Again, where that lines up, the characteristics of whether it's further to the north or south, that's a bit hard to tell. Just, you know, looking at what happened today in the morning, this line was not supposed to be this well developed. It was supposed to barely make the Mississippi River south of the Wisconsin border, but notice it did kind of overextend. So there's a lot of variability with these systems, and even if the forecast says one thing, you just have to stay watchful and look at the models, and especially the radar, because you know, you may be not expecting a big storm right now across Beaver Dam, as they said that after this first line it's done, but you're in for a pretty nice treat right there with that very powerful thunderstorm that's going to swipe through you. Maybe just the northern areas, and then of course more behind. Let's take a look now back at the European. Notice it develops that cold front. Again, it shifts further to the south on late Thursday into early Friday, and then notice into the day Friday and into Friday afternoon, it continues, but it goes back to the north. The low pressure system develops, more rain over the very, very similar areas, and into Saturday it finally clears the areas that are seeing the rain today into tonight, but it still is affecting Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, and also continuing its very slow trend. Lots of storms, kind of going through phases of weakening and strengthening, and it pulls away from the northeast. But look, the mid-Atlantic, the south, it's still dealing with that kind of with that front energy, and that's why there's some thunderstorms popping up. Not as strong as what we're seeing today across the Midwest, but they're definitely there. And this is the pattern I was talking about. Look how dry it gets. I mean, yes, there's some rain bouts across the south and extreme northern U.S. into southern Canada, but overall, a very kind of quiet pattern. Really more unusual for July, indicative of some part of the country seeing a heat wave, which would be the upper plains. But look what happens right here. Pretty large cool off behind that low pressure, which again, yeah, well, I'll make a video about that tomorrow. So in terms of its total accumulated precipitation forecast, the European, look, just through Friday, look how much rain could fall across the Midwest. Very, very heavy rain amounts, especially towards where that front stalls out for several days. But look, it continues into the northeast and mid-Atlantic, and you can see how gradually it just spills to the south. And that, again, that just shows you how slow this cold front will be. But once it clears, really not much more addition across the north. Across the south, yes, and across the southwest. But yeah, relatively staying dry across the northern plains and any areas that after that rain. But notice some activity to the north and east, but northwest unfortunately staying dry. Okay, let's take a look at another model, the GFS. Very similar. It's a global model, not as high res, but it just shows us the pattern of this storm. Notice there's our cold front getting dragged out into tomorrow 7 o'clock. This is tomorrow by 1 p.m. Notice very similar area to tomorrow by 7 p.m. A bit stronger, kind of shifting further to the north again. And look, it hits Chicago, northern Indiana, Michigan, Iowa, where the heavy rain could occur today again. 7 a.m. on Friday, more rain, and it finally shifts away on late Friday into Saturday across Michigan, into Pennsylvania, New York, across the Northeast, New England. While the East Coast is dealing with quite a bit of rain, there are areas in northern New Hampshire, northern Vermont, and northern New York that are a bit drier, so that's definitely going to be good. But then notice it does bring rain for the Northeast, which really isn't a good thing. They've seen so much rain this year there, for the most part at least. And then notice into Kansas, Oklahoma, another large cluster develops on Saturday. Definitely something to watch for, potentially for some damaging winds, maybe some large hail, probably a few tornadoes. Again, this front is powerful, especially by the looks of what it's doing today. And notice that, again, this front continues to drag, potentially re-affects the Northeast on Monday, but it finally goes away with some, again, smaller systems, but generally it gets quiet for 15 days. This is really a lackluster forecast. And notice the cold fronts that come through are weak and they're quick moving, so nothing really too significant. But notice there is quite a bit of precipitation across the southwest, which is the good news, as that's where they really need it. But everywhere else, decent rains. I wouldn't say you're gonna go into drought for this, but after, say, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, after today, it's going to dry out for the most part. Northeast, kind of more of a rainy situation. Still, though, definitely drier than what you've been seeing. And across the south, dry for now, the next few days, but once that front reaches you, it could be wet for a few days for sure. In some areas, could pick up a lot, especially if, a few storms occur. I mean, look at this today across the south. It's not really a widespread rain event, but if you're under one of these little storms right here, for example, right there, just west of Sweetwater, you're getting drenched on. Everywhere else, you may be thinking, where's the rain? It's far away. And in some instances, yes, it is far, but not necessarily. Look at that. Just went through Lexington Park. That's definitely, I think that might be severe warned right there. That's the thing across the Northeast. They've been seeing a lot of the severe weather this year, which is rather unusual. They haven't been outbreaks of severe weather, but it's like a daily threat, pretty much. It's happened already several times when I go onto the National Weather Service map. I pull up, in the evening hours or in the afternoon, and I look at this, and I see the Northeast always under some severe thunderstorm watch, a warning, an advisory, and I'm like, wow, they are really seeing a lot of activity this year, and I think that's a lot of people could agree with me that live there. Notice there's a severe thunderstorm warning right there. If you were to take a glance at that, we do have quarter-size sail, 60-mile problem window, so nothing I would say really bad. I would say that the worst part is the torrential rainfall that's falling on very saturated soils. So yeah, this isn't really to do with this storm, but I'm just saying that this storm could probably make that worse. Those areas that have seen that heavy rain. Let's take a glance now at some high-res models. So let's take a look at the HER model, a decent model that I like to look at. It's not perfect, like no model, but it's something that's used by forecasters. So notice it's pretty high res, right? Today's 7-8. Notice that cold front across Iowa develops. It does a pretty good job with it. A bit delayed, I would say. It's developing a bit faster. Notice by 10 approaching Dubuque City, Dubuque, Iowa, I should say. And then by midnight approaching the Mississippi, the Quad Cities into Milwaukee, southern Wisconsin. Again, some of this may be a bit more explosive across Wisconsin, as they've mentioned that, again, the atmosphere there is a bit more destabilized than they thought it would be, and that could definitely add to some severe thunderstorm action or just more heavy rain. And then notice that cold front, while it looks weak, it just stays quite a while. It's very slow moving one into northern Illinois, right there just south of the Quad Cities, moving into portions of Iowa, Missouri, Kansas City, seeing some showers. This is now early into the morning. Look at the giant cluster of rain across Michigan, pushing down into southern Canada. Again, some showers could be very heavy rain, and even some damaging wind gusts with those heaviest showers. And this only goes out to 17 hours, but if you were to take a look at the model run from the same model that went out to 48 hours, notice a bit of differences. Now it seems to support a heavier rain threat a bit earlier on in the day, but look what happens. A continued kind of shower threat, very slow, sagging down. Detroit getting in on some of that rain tomorrow, southern Michigan, northern Indiana. And if you were to take this further, notice we see that rain reemerging into areas that have already seen it. This is now late Thursday into early Friday morning, depending on what type of person you are at this point. This would be early for some. For me, this would be a late time because I go to sleep usually at 3. That's just who I am. All right, enough of that. Notice that, look at that. It goes back into Illinois, Wisconsin, Indiana, into Kansas City, potentially seeing some of that. Yeah, severe weather threat probably towards the south. But look at that rain across, heavy across very, very similar areas. I could see a ton of rain tonight into tomorrow. And even at 48 hours, it's still not done with that rain threat. Let's take a look at the total accumulated precip. Notice not much to the south, a bit across the southwest. It really takes the cake with these storms right here. And again, I do want to emphasize that the whole region here may be seeing, 2 to 4 inches, but there will be pockets of areas that see 5, 6, 7. I honestly would not be surprised if there is 1 or 2 locations that see double-digit amounts, like 10 or 11. That may seem crazy, but with the past events we saw, that it has happened with at least a few places. So, yeah, if you don't want to believe that, fair, fine. But looking at the past 72-hour radar rainfall estimate, you could find several areas that have gotten double-digit amounts, and especially with such a cold front like this, I think it's for sure possible. So notice again where exactly the heaviest will fall. That's a mystery, unfortunately. You'll just have to stick with the radar. These models are good, but they're not perfect, and I can't predict that well. You can see this is a different model, slightly different arrangement. Generally the same waves and waves of showers. This is a different model. You can see from the same family, but kind of excludes northern Illinois, favors more of Kansas, eastern Kansas into western Missouri, more of Kansas City. And as we push this into the Canadian high res, which I would say has the weakest handle on it, it still aligns with it pretty well. I would say, though, that it does take this stuff pretty far to the south rather quickly, probably a bit more quicker than most models. And this is the HRDPS. Did a pretty good job with those predicting a line in the morning today. Yeah, notice, look at that right there across Iowa. That is a ton of rainfall in some of those areas, which I wouldn't be surprised if that, again, does come to fruition in some areas. Again, maybe not across this area in particular, but wherever. That's important to notice. NAM 12KM, another model. Notice it favors the heavy rain across this corridor, extending from central Kansas into northern Missouri and northern Illinois. Quite a bit of rain. Again, it could be this widespread in nature, 2 to 3 inches for the whole area, but there still will be pockets of 6, 7 within that heavy rain. And, even if it's 1 or 2 inches, a broad spread, there will be pockets of 3 to 4. It usually works like that. And yeah, that's basically all I wanted to show you. Stay safe, guys. Stay tuned to your local National Weather Service and these watches and warnings, especially if you're across Iowa and it's a situation like this right now. Notice, look at all those watches and warnings and tornadoes. We have severe weather statements. We have I saw some flood advisories. I thought maybe not, but yeah, definitely a threat that just needs constant updating. So stay tuned to your National Weather Service. Look at the radar. Do a little bit of kind of configuration for yourself. There will be some more thunderstorms popping up here in a short run. And look at this. You live in Cedar Rapids. You look at the radar, and yeah, that looks as if it's gonna hit you, and it probably will with some thunderstorms right there. It's kind of a big line right there. Second one further towards the back. Definitely a big threat with this. And yeah, explosive environment definitely will be providing a lot of rain and fun for those that want the rain. And then notice that this stops right at the present, but these areas here will slowly fill in with storms, and this will continue dragging to the south. So expect more rain, even if you already have a lot of rain. So that's basically it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you all on the next episode. See ya. Bye.